The Inuit people will produce Australians, Canadians and Alaskans, 1,000 years later after the migration out of Africa. The Inuits are a group of culturally similar indigenous peoples inhabiting the Arctic and subarctic regions of Greenland, Labrador, Quebec, Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, and Alaska. The Inuits are descendants of the Kiowa Pygmies. Pygmies' other common descendants also includes the Ainus, San, Bushman people, Booty Pygmies, Bantus, Igbos, Botswanians, Zimbabwe, South Africans, Ethiopians, Mongolians, Kojans, Aborigines, Indonesians, Asians, Koreans, Nunavut, Eurasians, Indo-Europeans, Australians, Alaskans, South Americans, Irelands, Canadians, African Americans with DNA haplogroup L0, L2, MN, N, P, and R-type. The Inuits were the OOA, the first, out of the two groups to migrate out of Africa. I mentioned this previously on the Ainu's migration of blacks with straight hair, taking a route along the coast of Asia, and then, island hopping, across the Indian Ocean to Australia, the Australian Aborigine, and then making their way to South America. As we know, the first early humans emerged from Africa nearly 2 million years ago whom were dark, about 1.2 million years ago to less than 100,000 years ago, archaic humans, including archaic Homo sapiens, whom were also dark-skinned. They slowly evolved into the Inuit, then, Asians, native Australians and eventually Canadian Caucasoid admixtures. There was no evidence of deep continuity from ancient humans like Homo erectus to modern humans outside Africa. The features of today's Chinese and native Australians are less than 50,000 years old, rather than more than 1 million as first claimed in the 1800s by multi-regionalist. A black native of India, carrying the skin pigmentation gene logged as SLC24A5, passed it to the people of Ireland through his ancestors. Further research suggests that this hereditary makeup of pale skin genes began to be genetically controlled around 8,000 years ago. Blonde Eskimos is a term first applied in accounts of sightings of, and encounters with, light-haired Inuit then known as Eskimo, peoples of northern Canada from the early 20th century, particularly around the Coronation Gulf between mainland Canada and Victoria Island. It was once interpreted that Africa lagged far behind Europe and Asia in the development of modern humans and their complex behavior. In fact, thanks to new excavations and studies, that was far from the truth. They discovered that the Jebel or Hout fossil is actually about 300,000 years old and thus a very plausible ancestral form for Homo sapiens. They found the darkest skin in the Nilo-Saharan pastoralist populations of eastern Africa, such as the Mursi and Surma, and the lightest skin in the San of southern Africa, as well as many shades in between, as in the Agau people of Ethiopia.